Depression can keep you in a state of endless, meaningless existence. Each day seeps into the next with a cold malaise, a perpetual cycle of self-loathing and contempt for having ever been born. Thursdays blend into Fridays, and morning becomes night. Sleep is your temporary relief. When I'm feeling a little down, I'll turn to one of my favorite films, Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray. Well packaged like a classic 80s comedy, this movie has some surprisingly philosophical and spiritual turns, gentle reminders of the endless cycle of suffering that is existence and the myriad ways of managing such a life. Phil the weatherman is noticeably depressed, and even more, he's a jerk. His egotistical nature results in a constant swing between pride and disdain, projecting onto others his own selfish desires to be seen as some sort of celebrity. Well, maybe not on the same level, I can relate to Phil's alternating swings of pleasure and diversion. When he's unhappy, his main mechanism is to express his own dissatisfaction through insults, escape, and self-loathing. And when he's happy, he wants more of what makes him happy. Another drink, more recognition, resulting in a perpetual state of craving that likewise leaves him miserable. Samsara, a Sanskrit word for the cycle of mundane existence and aimless drifting, is fueled by this sort of craving. While worldly pleasures, relief, sex, good food, status are not inherently evil, the Buddhists believe that this grasping for such objects results in a cycle of seeking and dissatisfaction. As Shantideva says, one will only come up again and again in the happy realms, enjoy samsaric pleasures with greed, and then suffer for infinite times after the death of this all. This is the fate of most humans, a half-conscious, lifelong struggle between running from pain and running towards pleasure. Phil reluctantly travels to report on the annual Groundhog Day festival in a small, boring town. This day, by all accounts, is one of the worst days of his life. Firstly, Phil's job as a weatherman is to predict the future, which he fails to do when an unexpected blizzard rolls in. Secondly, Phil is hounded by a cast of seemingly obnoxious characters, insurance agents, nosy hotel guests, and his annoyingly pleasant crew. We see the samsaric quality of Phil's life play out here. His desire to escape the snowed-in town results in drinking and insulting others, especially because he's unable to accept the circumstances. Unfortunately for Phil, this too shall not pass. He awakens the next day only to realize that it is once again February 2nd, and the next day, once again, is also February 2nd. Phil relives the same day over and over, regardless of any efforts to alert others or change his circumstances. According to the script, he lives this day over 10,000 times. And so samsara has become quite literal for Phil, as he asks himself, what would you do if you were stuck in one place and every day was exactly the same and nothing really mattered?
When things begin to feel the same and repeat over and over, it can feel like there is nothing else out there. Luckily for you, Hungry Minds has been hard at work creating stunningly unique and thought-provoking products to keep life and learning interesting. The book, The Ultimate Guide to Rebuilding a Civilization, is an illustrated encyclopedia of humankind's greatest inventions and discoveries. In its 400 pages and 23 chapters, there are 180 topics complemented by a beautiful combination of engineering drawings and medieval art styles. The book delivers rare knowledge and inspires deeper thinking with its technical and humanities-based topics, capturing universal information for all. Apart from being a wonderful decoration with its laminated hardcover, I've really been enjoying the spices section. With its vast information and intricately detailed art, I find myself both learning and being inspired to dive deeper. Each page leaves you with a joyous feeling of how much there is to learn out in the world. Not only does it do all this, but it is also a quest. While reading about the printing press, I began noticing these little details which led me to believe there was something this book wanted me to uncover. Following these clues, you begin a quest of puzzles leading you deep into the Order of Seekers world. It features both an entry-level puzzle and advanced puzzles. And something else that's crazy is that only 7 people in the whole world have solved all of them. Once completed, you will be able to find a hidden website as well as receive a mystery award from Hungry Minds and a membership to the Order of Seekers. You could be number 8. If you're curious, grab yourself or a friend a copy with the link in the description below. Take it from me, you won't be able to put it down. Thank you, Hungry Minds, for sponsoring this video.
This results in an interesting experiment. What would a person do in such circumstances? Phil, being a generally terrible person, begins to live as if there was no consequences, because there isn't. Thus, the many aversive qualities of the cycle are seemingly dispelled. He eats large, fatty meals with no worries of cholesterol. He robs banks. He uses his metaphysical powers to seduce and enchant women to sleep with. As Rinpoche notes, living a life of pure desire is like being a dumb animal eating grass at the edge of a cliff, always in constant danger of falling off. But what are we without this danger? Well, we can do whatever our heart desires, all knowing that the next day will come and it will start over with zero impact on ourselves or others. This is Phil's life. But eventually, this leaves Phil dissatisfied. With no day leading into the next, all things lose meaning. Change laces the objects of our affection with some perdurance. Things matter because they eventually end, but not February 2nd. This is felt most in his attempt to build a deeper relationship with a woman. Phil desires her, but is left deeply alone in his metaphysical prison. And in his lonesome state of meaningless cycling, he falls into deep depression, amounting to a darkly comical montage of Phil taking his own life over and over and over. However, no matter what, he wakes up each day alive and still miserable. As he states, he has killed himself so many times he doesn't even exist anymore. Phil has reached a state of pure nihilism, where even death offers no escape. And here is where the main illusion of Phil, the illusion that truly fuels samsara, is left behind for good. The illusion of the self. Phil has no identity beyond this day. He cannot develop relationships, pursue new careers, or even have a family. By all accounts, there is no Phil. And what is the result? Despite the world around him remaining the same, Phil changes. With no self to drive his own actions from pain and towards pleasure, both cease to matter. Phil becomes deeply involved in the lives of others. He helps the less fortunate. He takes on the Sisyphean task of saving the life of a man who will die on February 2nd, every February 2nd. He begins to see the value in the present in every decision. Harold Ramis, the man behind the film, said in an interview that the key to Groundhog Day was in representing those moments when you're about to make that same old mistake again. We face those changes every day, large and small, every single day. If you change one little thing, one little behavior, then everything might change. This is breaking the cycle, through the wisdom that you are more than your desiring, pain-aversive self. Phil learns slowly to do things for their own sake. He becomes a master of the piano, learns to sculpt, and proves to be an effective marriage counselor. Why? It is simply the right thing to do. Or as Buddhism might suggest, the most skillful thing to do. Phil, by all accounts, becomes enlightened. He practices the Eightfold Path, doing things out of intrinsic care and compassion rather than instrumental calculus. This results in his liberation, where he is inevitably freed from the cycle of suffering. The Buddha likewise promoted this sort of path. It is only through following the Eightfold Path of wisdom, ethical action, and mindfulness in which one is freed from samsara. In the end, when Phil realizes that it's February 3rd, he says, "Any change is good," reflecting a new state of mind, an acceptance of impermanence and a relinquishment from craving and fear. As Dean Slater, a film critic, once wrote about the film, "We are the groundhog, and we are afraid of our own shadow, a shadow created by light. That light is truth, reality. Ultimate truth, then, is not a bummer, it's nothing." I think that about sums it up. Change is inevitable, the self is illusory, be kind to others. And if you're ever feeling down, check out this movie.